Today's video, we're going over Detroit Lions general manager Brad Holmes' decision since he's been here tenure in Detroit. This is not a bad nor a good video. We're just going to go over it and go through the grades and what I think he has done well, what he needs to improve on, all of that type of stuff. But before we get into today's video, if you're a fan of getting probed by an extraterrestrial, then go ahead and subscribe to my channel because we talk all things Detroit Lions news and rumors. And sometimes being a Lions fan, you can get screwed over. Also, hit that like button and make sure that bad boy gets evaporated. Let's get into today's video. Alrighty, folks, let's go ahead and start with his draft selections. That's the best way to go. And he's had some really, really good drafts. Let's get into the 2021 draft here. An amazing draft. The Lions had the 7th pick in the draft, and Penei Sewell fell to them. Such a great draft. A+ there. Levi Onwuzurike, injury prone. Alim McNeill, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Derrick Barnes, Ifeatu, Melifonwu, Jermar, Jefferson. I say this is a massive success draft. Look, not all drafts you're going to have players that make the team. You guys need to understand that. It's just not how it works, right? But if you can get a significant portion of your draft picks to make a impact on your team, you've done a phenomenal job. Penei Sewell, Alim McNeill, St. Brown, Derrick Barnes. Even if the others didn't work out, I consider that to be a very successful draft. I do. And when I grade this draft here, I would have to give it an A for sure. You got to give it an A on this one. What do you guys think? Give that grade a thought. I'm going to give it an A. And the next draft you go here with the Detroit Lions. And again, I thought it was a really good draft. You get Aidan, Hutchinson. We can debate, is he living up to his potential or not? But make no mistake about it, he was better than Kayvon Thibodeau. All right, he's better than the Jags. Yeah, great pick, right? Jameson Williams, the trade up. I thought that ended up being a really good move. In the beginning, I totally understand why they made the move. They just want to stash him because their team wasn't good at that point, but great move. This is where, there's a little bit of issues start to creep in, I feel, with the Lions now in the latest drafts here. And that was Joshua Paschal. And they knew this guy was an injury-prone player. That is a concern that I have. And we'll see that going forward, right? J. Curb, great pick. Malcolm Rodriguez, quality pick. James Mitchell, James Houston, and Chase Lucas. I thought we're all good draft, a decent draft here. Decent draft. Not going to get butthurt over a James Houston, Chase Lucas. The Malcolm Rodriguez and Joshua Paschal one was probably the worst picks, right? Out of all of them, right? So I thought it was a good draft. I give that one an A draft. Another A draft. And then obviously we'll continue on with more of the drafts, and we get to the 23 draft, which is amazing. But a shout out to the sponsor of today's video. You heard this before? Dad, what are we going to have for dinner? Mom, what are we going to have for dinner? I just got asked by my daughter, what are we going to have for dinner for Christmas? And I said, we're going with my favorite, Omaha steaks. Yes, I'm a huge fan of Omaha steaks. They are my go-to option for holiday dinners, and they are perfect for gifts for this year's Christmas. From holiday hosting to unforgettable gifts, Omaha Steaks delivers the world's best steak experience. Give family and friends USDA certified tender steaks, juicy burgers, cozy and convenient comfort meals, and so much more. Our listeners get an extra $35 off with promo code LIONS at checkout. Omaha Steaks offers unrivaled quality in a variety of every bite that is backed by their 100% guarantee. Every steak is perfectly aged to maximize tenderness and hand-cut by master butchers in America's heartland. Omaha Steaks delivers an exclusive lineup of USDA-certified tender steaks, and their fan-favorite filet mignon have achieved the distinction of USDA-certified very tender. So save big on gourmet gifts and more holiday favorites with Omaha Steaks. Visit OmahaSteaks.com for 50% off site-wide during their Sizzle All the Way sale. And for an extra $35 off, use promo code LIONS at checkout. Terms apply. See site for details. That's OmahaSteaks.com, code LIONS. The link is going to be in the description and pinned comment for this video. Check it out. All right, folks, and we get into the best draft for the Detroit Lions that I thought under our Brad Holmes tenure. This is the A-plus draft. I mean, this is the Hall of Fame draft here. Obviously, when everybody said he was full of it, he is the one that did the right move here. Jahmyr Gibbs, A-plus. Jack Campbell, A-plus. Sam Laporte, he's been injured, but that was not during the draft. A-plus. Brian Branch, he's had a little issues this year, but A-plus, right? Then we have start to fall off, and this is what's been occurring the last couple of years. And we'll get into free agency in a minute. But I think that Brad Holmes got a little bit of arrogant and was like, you know what? Let's go ahead and do some luxury picks. And I think that was a mistake. I wasn't going to get mad at a couple of mistakes. But if you see in the next couple years, we do have some issues here. Broderick Martin, Hendon Hooker, Colby Sorsdale. I'm going to get mad about Antoine Green. It's a 7th round pick. But those were not good, right? They were not good draft picks, right? So that was not good. But again, I'm going to give this draft A+. Hall of Fame. But now you start to see the trend, right? The trend was going in a wrong direction at the very end there. But what could be in the right direction is hitting that subscribe button. We're less than 2,500 away from 100,000 subscribers. Hit that sub button, and we can get to the channel. Then we get into not this year's draft, but the draft before the 2024 draft. Terrion Arnold, I think he's going to be a good draft pick. A lot of people give him hell. You got to understand it takes a couple years. They went that. But Ennis Rakestraw, injury prone. Giovanni Minu was a luxury pick. Sione Vaki hasn't done anything, really. Makai Wingo is not on the field. Mahogany, probably the second best pick in that draft, is a 6th round pick. That's not a good draft. That's a piss poor draft. You got 2 players out of this draft, really. 2 starters. Really, 2 contributors from this draft. In all the act, just 2. That's cheeks. I think that the idea of luxury picks was what's starting to hurt the Lions. So let's get into last year's draft, obviously. Everything is out on this year's draft, so I'm not going to really talk about it that much. But that's what we got going on here, right? And people could say, oh, you could have got an edge, whatever. But we're not going to get into this year's draft because everything's still on them, right? It's not even fully done. But the last 2 drafts is not looking as promising. You say, why is the trend? Well, remember, when you're a good team, you draft later in the draft. So that's another issue. But I do thinking we have a great roster, that's an issue, right? And so then you do luxury picks. And I think that's the problem. When it comes to the draft, we have not addressed the opposite of Aidan Hutchinson. That is a problem. In regards to the draft, we traded for Isaac Tesla with three third-round picks. He needs more touches. So there has been some issues in the draft. He has got to get better at not drafting injury-prone players as well as stop with the luxury picks, right? That's the latest trend. So let's get into his free agency. We'll go in 0-1. Romeo Okwara, I mean, he had no really choice there. Rashard, I'm in this free agency period, well, I'm not going to get too butthurt about it. This was the year 1 rebuild. This is where they really sucked. But I'm going to still show it to you. Good selection there by Jamal Williams. The 2 receivers sucked. Khalif Raymond, great pickup. Alex Anzalone, great pickup. Right? Jalen Reeves-Maybin, I thought he was remember, we drafted him too. The quarterback position was Cheeks, Tim Boyle, Charles Harris. He was good at the moment, we thought. He didn't amount to anything. So I'm not going to get too great on that one. That was year 1. But let's get into the second year of free agents. And I thought DJ Chark was a solid signing. So I like what he did there. Charles Harris was not that good, so that's a net negative. Khalif Raymond, of course, that's fine. Tracy Walker, we thought we'd bring him back. We thought that was the correct move at the time, so I'm not going to get mad at him. Josh Reynolds was a great pickup in free agency. Of course, Alex Anzalone. Now let's get into C.J. Gardner-Johnson in the really good free agency there in 23. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, David Montgomery, those two were impact players for the Lions. Cam Sutton, he sucked. Emmanuel Mosley, injury prone. Again, with the injury prone. Isaiah Buggs, I liked Buggs. I'm not going to get upset with that one. Marvin Jones Jr. didn't amount to anything. Alex Anzalone again. Matt Nelson, terrible. John Kaminsky, fine. Graham Glasgow, at the moment, was fine. Not bad ones, except for Nate Sudfeld. Right, let's go into the 2024 free agency. Kevin Zeitler is a great move. DJ Reader, I thought, was a really good move. Graham Glasgow was a great move. Donovan Peoples-Jones, at the time, I thought was good. Didn't amount to anything. Zonovan Knight. Marcus Davenport. And this is where the issues start with the Lions. Marcus Davenport on free agency. Amik Robertson, fantastic pick. Dan Skipper, great. Khalil Dorsey, fine. Scott Daly, fine. Brock Wright, fine. Kindle Vildor, at the moment, was fine. He was number 5. Craig Reynolds, KU to Iusika, James Houston, good. Nate Sudfeld, cheeks. This year's free agency was worse, I thought. DJ Reed, in my opinion, he's not performing well to Carlton Davis, who we let go in free agency. Derrick Barnes, Marcus Davenport, bad signing. Anthony Pittman, Dan Skipper, Ezekiel Turner, Roy Lopez, good signing. Levi Onwuzurike, not good. You see the problems. Tim Patrick, and getting rid of Tim Patrick was a terrible mistake. And that's part of trades. Of trades that we did do and trades that we didn't do. So in regards to free agency, I would say it's not bad, the moves that we signed. But in regards to not getting a pass rusher this past year, that was a mistake. Huge mistake when they're all on there. Okay, and he's got to own up to it. And he's got to live with it. This season's is banked on it. Everybody told him, but he said that we're good. Okay, and the trade deadline has been cheeks. So he's got to do a better job at the trade deadline, being active to get maybe better pass rush on free agents. He's been subpar at the trade deadline, in my opinion. So, look, if people are saying fire Brad Holmes, that's ridiculous. That is stupid. They're not going to fire Brad Holmes. He's made a lot of good moves, but he's made some mistakes. So he's got to correct those mistakes, and he's got to continue making the good moves. So when I look at Brad Holmes, I'm sure he's going to look internal a little bit. He's going to build this offensive line. He's going to hopefully get a pass rush at some point, right? Now, in free agency this year, it's going to be cheeks, guys. We don't have the money. So don't get upset. We just don't have the money. So give me your thoughts about Brad Holmes. With this said, folks, adios.